How's it going today?
Pretty good, thanks. How are you?
Good. You ready for some questions?
I am. Yeah, fire away.
Awesome. So, can you define asset management in a minute or less?
So, asset management is the study of allocating resources to invest in different assets and how to manage that. So, you can think of endowments and pension funds and hedge funds are all managing assets, investment assets, that is. That's what we focus on.
Cool. And so, Masters of Asset Management, there's this term all over the website, do good and do well. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so that phrase, do good and do well, came from David Swenson. And when we started the program together, we wanted to create a program that really focused on asset management because no other program does. There's masters in finance programs, but nothing that focuses on asset management. And what David always said was what he loved about this business is you could do well and do good at the same time. So you're doing good by investing for your clients, whether it's Yale, in David's case, and building, buildings or funding buildings and scholarships for people and improving the resources for students and faculty. Or it's your clients, they could be teachers unions, pension funds, for firemen, other things where you're investing for their retirement. That's the do good part. The do well part is you get paid well to do that if you do it well. And so it's one of the few businesses where you can do both, and those don't need to be opposed. That's one of the things we try to articulate in this program.
That's awesome. So, if you could tell me what the asset management program is in one sentence, what would you say?
I'd say it's an intense curriculum over 9 months that tries to teach you some of the basic principles you need for asset management. And those range from fundamental to quantitative methods. We can go through all that. But the tools that you'll need and the skills you'll need to begin a career in asset management.
So, once they're in that career, there are so many things happening in this field. What's something that's really exciting to you right now?
I think one of the most exciting aspects of this field is technology, which is booming. That technology affects data that we use. It affects the way we trade and invest. It affects the information that flows. So it's a rapid fire environment and it's ever changing. And I think that's an exciting time.
Can you tell us a little bit about where you work and what you do outside of Yale?
Yeah, so I'm obviously a professor here at Yale, but I'm also a partner, principal at AQR Capital Management, one of the largest quantitative hedge funds in the world. And it feels like I have two jobs sometimes, but mostly what I do is the same at both places. I'm building models, doing research. AQR is a company that takes that academic research and implements it in practice. And I learn a lot between those two worlds about things that we talk about as academics that work in practice or don't work and how we modify them, and then problems that practitioners want to solve that we think about in academia. That's where I spend most of my time, that and my 4 kids.
So when you're looking to hire a new employee, what are 5 traits you look for?
If I'm thinking about hiring a new employee, I would say the number one thing I look for is work ethic and diligence. So are you willing to work hard and in particularly work hard at learning? The second thing I would look for is curiosity. Are you curious? Are you going to answer? Are you going to look to ask interesting questions? Are you interested in those answers? And I want someone who's going to be willing to do that. A third thing is, which is related to curiosity, is are you willing to make mistakes? And you have to make mistakes. You can't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to, and when you do, own up to them and learn from them. But take some risks and challenges. And I don't know if you want to call that a fourth, but it's related to that. Get out of your comfort zone, take some risks, learn some new things, and try some new things. And then lastly, I would say, obviously, you want to have some skills, right? So all those things are attributes of the person, but you do need to have some skills. There is an importance to, can you do the math? Can you bring something to the table from the beginning? But for the most part, I want to see that you're going to be curious, take some risks, and be willing to learn.
That's great advice to give someone. Thank you. So let's turn a little bit more to you and learning more about you. So who is someone you look up to and why?
So one of the people that I've looked up to for a long time was my mentor at the University of Chicago, Eugene Fama, who won the Nobel Prize in 2013. Not just because he won the Nobel Prize. I looked up to him well before he won the Nobel Prize. I just love the way he approached science. I love the way he approached his life. It was very much from a very efficient way of approaching things. So the way he had tackled research was, I'm going to apply the scientific method. If it's in the data, then it can change my mind. I don't have strong, I may have strong priors and strong beliefs, but I'm willing to let the data change that. I'm willing to let science convince me that I might be wrong. Fama, a great example of that was he had one particular theory of the world that he won the Nobel Prize for, and there was a diametrically opposed theory that also subsequently won the Nobel Prize. And Gene Fama was instrumental in hiring the best person in the field that contradicted his, because he said, I may be wrong. And he said, I want to have the best person. And I loved that. And his work ethic and his just determination to kind of focus on getting to the truth, I absolutely love. It's actually one of the reasons I work at AQR. We're all disciples of Eugene Fama, including the founders there.
Sounds like a great guy. What would you say is your favorite part about your job at AQR?
So I love thinking about tough problems and how to solve them, and working with really good people to solve them. And what I like about AQR is it operates much along the lines of what I mentioned about Fama, is we always try to seek the truth, even if that truth isn't necessarily what we want to hear, right? Sometimes we might be wrong about something. But I like the idea that the best idea wins. This was something that we practice in research. So it doesn't matter who says it. If it's a good idea, that's all that matters, and let's pursue it. And when you do that collectively, the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts, whereas a group, you end up making much more progress on things and getting to the truth much faster if you let go of egos and you just say, look, whoever's got the best idea, that's where we're going to go.
So what's your favorite part about your job here at Yale SOM?
Same thing.
Great answer. Can you describe your students to us?
So what I've found with the students in the asset management program is they're very young and very bright. And what I like about them is very eager, passion for trying to understand this business of asset management, and just I would say a hunger even for just tell me everything that I can learn in the next 9 months and put me to work. They work extremely hard. We make them work hard. They ask a lot of good questions. And I think the effort doesn't just stop in the classroom. I think for a lot of these students, they spend the 3 hours in class, they spend maybe 10 hours on the homework, and then they're still reading stuff and asking questions. And I love that. And that's what I'd like to impart on them, is just a hunger for this business and asset management, and to keep pursuing that.
Well, bringing it back to New Haven, what is your favorite spot on campus?
Favorite spot on campus? I sometimes like to take a walk around the science buildings. I don't know what they call it, but I think it's very pretty there. They have a bunch of new science buildings. But I actually really love going to Beinecke. Right? I think when you see that Gutenberg, what is it? One of the first printed Bibles, I think it is. Right? And then you see the architecture there. It's calming. It's interesting. You realize the history here. It's just a nice break. I used to, when it was open, go to the Peabody Museum, which is also kind of nice too. Looking forward to that. Is it back open yet? I don't think so.
Not yet. We're anxiously awaiting.
Yeah, it's only been 4 years. So.
Well, last question, and some would say the most important. What's your favorite pizza spot in New Haven?
Oh, that's easy. Bar Pizza. So that's a New Haven insider's guide. Get the mashed potato and bacon. It sounds disgusting, and it's one of the best. I take all of our guest speakers there, and they're always skeptical of that, and then they take a bite, and they usually order a whole pizza to take home with them for their family. It's very unique.
That sounds amazing. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today. Appreciate it.
Oh, thank you.